Hello there, how are you doing this fantastic weekend? For us, we can smile because we know you're keeping company with us. We turn up because we know that you will show up. Please, get a cup of coffee. Tell your family, tell your friends. Gather around your television set. Are you in the living room or are you in the bedroom? Let's listen and learn together because we're talking about something that impacts and touches everyone in our society because everyone comes from a home. They say a heart cannot dwell on pettiness and malice that it has never felt. Well, that's a quote, it's not mine. But I latched onto it to provide more clarity for our conversation today. Imagine if I walked into NTA today and from the gate into the car park, into the corridors and the studios, I walked past everybody without saying a word. They'd wonder if I was all right. Even if something happened yesterday, most people with a clear mind will forget and a new day begins with great thoughts and aspirations for everyone. They'd say, is Thelma all right? Well, because I'm all right, I said hello right from the get-go up till now. I said hello to patients. In fact, we shared a warm, genuine hug. Sure. Today, we're talking about malice in the home. Can you imagine people who live together not speaking to each other? That means they are holding resentment and grudge. Well, it's going to impact everyone who lives in that home with you and even those who visit. Did you know that there are different kinds of malice? There's passive malice, there's active malice, there's relational malice, there's lots more. We get into the nitty-gritty when we start our conversation today on Weekend Deal. Let me tell you my name. I don't know all your names, but to welcome you warmly, I'm Thelma. And it's time to hand over to my sister here, who I'm definitely in warm love with.
Oh, yes,
Patience, Eloyaba. Take it over.
Plenty love. And you look amazing, girl.
You too, darling.
Okay, so it's about malice in the home, resolving malice in the home. Now, the home is said to be the smallest unit of the society. I dare add the most powerful unit of the society. As the program progresses, you would know why, but let me quickly speak to that. The society is a reflection of the home. What that means is that if the home is healthy, the society in turn will be healthy. Now, the home, like every other sphere of life, has its fair share of conflicts that might result into malice. But how do we resolve these conflicts? How do we resolve this malice? In such a way that we come out stronger, loving each other more, bonding, and even understanding each other more. That is what we are looking at on today's show. Have I told you? It is your favorite weekend show, Weekend Deal, coming to you from the network service of the NTA. Thank you so much for keeping a date with us. We'd love to hear from you, so please do join this conversation.
We're talking about malice in the home. And if we bring an issue here to the center table on Weekend Deal, you know is how to bring about resolutions and resolve crisis or crisis. Now, our background feature will set the tone, give us clarity and direct our discourse. Our guests are in the house. We want you to listen, to watch, observe, and then be a part of our very engaging discourse. The background feature is next.
Malice, in the context that I understood it up until very recently, means when you're not speaking with someone because you've had an altercation with the person, or the person has upset you, or for whatever reason you just are not on speaking terms. However, very recently, the dictionary definition of malice is actually an intent to do harm to someone. So in the context of a couple not being in speaking terms with one another, that will affect the family in a whole lot of negative ways. So imagine that you're on the dining table and you're not on speaking terms with your husband or your wife. There's no way that information can flow. If you had anything important to share with them, you will be weighing, or you will be careful as to how you would approach the topic. Or even if you had to talk about it, you will talk about it without any feeling of care. You will just go straight as if you're in an official meeting. And of course the children will notice. For children, that affects them adversely. A financial disagreement in a family or between a married couple can be resolved if both parties, before they had the financial disagreement, had an amicable understanding as to what finances mean for each of them. If he doesn't have any problem with his wife earning more, for instance, then it shouldn't be a problem. But where a man has a problem, or where he has that notion that the man should always earn more, perhaps because naturally men are providers, and I would understand that. However, if that is the case, then it behoves on the woman to try to understand and do what she can to help him. So the thing is, in marriage, we always know when the communication begins to break down, but it happens very subtly. Something happens, you talk about it the first time, and maybe it happens again, and then you just bottle up and decide, no, I'm not going to talk about it, right? So those very first times when it begins to happen, and you find that you tend to be sweeping stuff under the carpet, that is the time to begin to address it. My mind is cast back, some years, a number of years ago. Then I was pregnant. There was a conflict between my husband and I, and he had come home. I can't remember what it was again. And the funny thing is, you don't even remember what causes the conflict, after you've, had all the blowing up and, all the altercations that come along. And so what I do remember that night was that he walked out of the house angry, and I followed him. I followed him with my big tubby. I followed him, and as he stepped out of the estate gate, then we're living in Lagos, he hopped on a bike, and I hopped on the next bike I saw. This was in the night, a pregnant woman. Tell me where I was chasing him to, So sometimes the things that we do in the heat of anger, if we're a bit more emotionally intelligent, we would do way better. The Holy Book says, pride goeth before a fall. And so we will do well to, take a lesson from that. You will only keep going high, up and up and up, when you allow pride to stay for as long as you allow it to stay. And when the pride eventually is deflated, what happens? You fall. So rather than allowing pride to linger, I would say that couples should do what they can to just set pride aside when communicating amongst themselves. I believe that marriage is a commitment. I believe that marriage is not just a contract, it's not just a legal agreement. It's a commitment that requires hard work, requires patience, requires intentionality, and we tend to change as human beings, right? However, that commitment we have had, if we can keep working at keeping the commitment alive, then I believe that our marriages will be the better for it.
And so, on Weekend Deal this week, we shall be focusing on the topic, resolving malice in the home.
Okay, thank you so much, Ben. I mean, like that lady said, pride is one of the reasons why we have malice at home. But beyond pride, there are other reasons. What are the other reasons? NTA Calabar will be uncovering the root causes and cultural complexes. Let's see this.
When communication ceases in a home, it gives room to malice. How did we get here?
The major persons that malice could cause issues within the home should be that of the father and the mother. And this is actually caused by mainly the persons keeping things away from themselves, especially women. When a man does something and doesn't bring the woman in, the woman does things and doesn't bring the man in, the woman in little ways feels the husband is not living up to expectations. She begins to stay away, doesn't talk to her husband, and that begins to cause space between them.
When one is being offended or one is being taken for granted, that could, cause somebody to resolve to keeping malice, especially when you trust somebody so much, and then at the end of the day, the person betrays you, people are not taking up their responsibility, it could cause you to keep malice.
Cultural complexity is a factor of concern. How does this affect the harmony of the home?
When a woman is born, there are so many rules. You are just expected to see her and not hear her. And then this goes on till she gets married. She is offended at her husband. He has done things over and over again that she's offended at. The society, the culture we find ourselves in expects her to keep short. Even when she now even complains to her parents, they're like, he's your husband.
I'm married to a woman from Delta State, and she has a background. She has a culture. She has where she came from. I have my own background. We tend to want to see persons from our places as people that we understand more. She eats uwu and stash. I don't eat uwu and stash. And this could cause an issue in the family that makes us, we sit and start avoiding ourselves, and this man doesn't make me eat my food anymore. So those are the cultural, ethnic background that comes into a family that could cause this hatred inside of us that we see as malice.
Finance lubricates the smooth running of the home. But what about unequal financial contributions?
This idea of the man's money is our money and then my money is my money isn't going to help out. Actually, it can lead to malice in a home, because when a man is overburdened with financial load and he knows that the wife has the ability to help out, but she's holding on to her finances, it can lead to resentment.
The man is meant to run all the affairs, the finances of the house. The man is meant to cater for the home, take care of the feeding, the children welfare, the schooling, and all of that. And women with money, taking care of the women. Even your wife works. She believes her money should be meant for her personal things or whatever she decides to do with it. Your own money as a man is what is supposed to run the house and take care of her too. So when all this surfaces and the woman feels the man needs to do all of this, and the man feels that little the woman should contribute into the welfare of the house, all of this causes kind of this staunch enmity, or it builds the woman's heart, fills her heart with hatred towards the man.
What is the way forward for a happy home?
Imagine two people staying together and they are keeping, one person is keeping malice, and you, the other person, you've not tried to, put in any effort to even ask questions. What have I done? And communicate properly.
To me, the way forward, I believe, is opening up to each other. Always try to sit down and hear yourselves out.
Leave whatever you have seen being done by your father or your mother or your grandparents, or you are building your home, and you should be able to build your home on your own laws. So both husband and wife should be able to sit down and come up with financial laws to help them run their homes.
It's very easy to become selfish But it's wiser to be intentional about everything you do that you know will affect and impact other people. When you are in a union, it will pay you very well if you put the other person first. And then, from what I've learned, you actually are the bigger person. Our guests are here. Let's let the experts dovetail right into our conversation. Don't forget, our program is interactive. We have our pad. We want to hear from you wherever you are in the world. We'll get your message and we'll share it. We meet our first guest. He is Dr. Emeka Henry Inegbu, a certified and seasoned marriage and relationship expert. We see his profile and he's right here.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hey,
Great to have you with us.
Great to have you with
Good to
us.
be here.
Okay, so our next guest is a lady I've admired for so long. She's on top of her turf. She's done it all and she's still standing strong and still so beautiful. She is Dr. Adedayo Benjamin's Lani. For this show, I told you she has done so many things. For this show, she's the Pioneer Monday Secretary for Women Affairs for the FCT. Let's see her profile.
Dr. Adedayo, you're welcome to Weekend Deal. Wow. I know that any time in the past when I've engaged in a conversation, I've come away with something. I know that today is no different. What makes it awesome is that the whole world can benefit from both your expertise. Thank you for being a part of Weekend Deal today. As we must resolve the crisis and the malice, because malice brings crisis. And earlier on, Patience told us that, and we also agree, the family is a microcosm of the society. And when the family is not healthy, when there's malice, it's not healthy, it affects the larger society. The children are affected, neighbors, all the family members are affected. I know, I will start with Dr. Adedayo. I know you are happily married with children, but you've also had a very busy life. You work real hard. You do your time out and you do it in as well. Tell me, we've often heard that somebody must be the bigger person when there's any form of disagreement. How does it work? How should it work? What brings positive results?
Well, First of all, we all understand that malice is a poison. And honestly, malice is also a nurtured social expression. It's a malady. Yes. In your childhood, growing up, if you are not properly supervised and nurtured away from malice, resentment, anger, wrath, all of these negative attributes, you will become a malicious person. Ooh. You will have malice tendencies in relationships, which would always implicate your marriage and marital relationship eventually. So, I say this because, yes, I've been married 28 years by the grace of God.
Wow. Hallelujah.
And, with 3 years of courtship. And yeah, I love the way you've been happily married, because myself and my husband are very much in the public view, in the community of faith. We both serve as pastors within the Redeemed Christian Church of God. So in the place also of leadership, people watch us, see us, and our marriage is very much out there for everyone to see. And what they see is the happily married couple. But what I always say is, we are a real couple.
Okay.
We are first of all a man and a woman, a husband and a wife. Before we are anything by title, by assignment, whether it's in the community of faith or it's in the place of leadership, either through my public service appointeship or him as a captain of industry, because that's what we are. We are not pastors by full-time assignment. If you understand Redeemed Christian Church of God, we're just workers. We're just serving God. But somehow we've been blessed in that assignment, because my husband met me, saw me in church just as a businessman, very quiet, a pharmacist, and he never had any intention, never, he's always been shy, ever, of coming out to be a minister or to do anything with church. But somehow, coming for me, he came into the deep end. And I was already in the deep end as far as faith is concerned. But then through him, he also has coached me and directed my choices such that I, in that deep end, didn't get carried away by spiritual commitment. Or no, he made me understand that you are a person, you are to grow in the place of your business. He said what he told me actually was he loved my voice, my gift of speaking. And he said everything a voice is and a voice does, you must do and you must become. And my husband has invested in that and has not stopped. Our business, Doxa, evolved out of the fact that my husband took his first millions and invested in me, in the voice, to set up our business, Doxa Digital. Now, does that mean my husband and I, throughout from courtship to where we are, 28 years, 4 children, everything we are doing, don't have unhappy moments? We do. But you say one is a bigger person. Who is the bigger? We are both big people. We are both big on submitting to one another in love. Love is not an uchi-kuchi. Love is a commandment. Love is actually, without God, love is a hard thing. Bible says the woman submits, the man should love his wife. And many people think that submitting is a harder work. Love is hard. Because they say you should love as Christ loved the church, which means he gave his life. Men, die. Just die. Just know your own. What I always say is, what you marry, you carry.
You carry. Oh,
no. Even if you want, divorce it, you are carrying the matter.
True.
Nothing you do. It is better not to marry than to marry. Because if marriage is something you face as an ambition and aspiration, you've made a mistake. Marriage should be something that organically evolves as part of your expression. It's interesting. based on certain childhood experiences or girl-child experiences. I made up my mind I would never marry. I come from a background where my parents had gotten divorced, separated and eventually divorced. When I was 7, and I was the oldest of the 3 of us. And we had a darling childhood growing up. Everything anybody would ever want to have as a family expression was what we had. My dad, my mom. Just yesterday, the president was commissioning at the Naval Dockyard. My dad was the first indigenous OIC of the Naval Dockyard. Wow. We grew up in that place. I grew up with the shipyards, with all of that. We grew up with everything. We had my dad was a 2-time minister then.
Wow.
I mean, we had everything. Money. The 2 ATS, you name it. My mom is from Trinidad. We had the flowers, we had the parties, we had the best parties, we had everything, and then everything crashed. Wow. And I came into a swirl as a child. And it challenged everything right down to my personal sense of confidence. I lost everything. I didn't see myself as beautiful. I saw myself as ugly. It took that's why for me, being born again, having faith is not some super spiritual. No, please, it's a lifestyle. I apologize to everyone for what people have made born againism. You know, this is being born again simply is having a life, a relationship with God. And it influences everything you do holistically. It doesn't condemn. It doesn't the conviction you get is not what you give, it's what you receive.
From you,
and that changes you.
Wow.
So when it
amazing.
Comes to Malice and rebasing it as it were, because it's a big discussion.
It's a big discussion.
It's what we do, what we learn to grow from, and through the nurturing of a right faith.
Okay.
You build away from it, and you are big every time you are confronted with offense.
Good. Thank you. Good. Dr. Nebo, thank you so much. I mean, that's profound. I mean, as a marriage counselor, what are the most likely cause of conflicts or malice in the home? I'm sure you've heard like 1 million things. Tell us which are most common in a home.
Well, just before we get to that, been married for 22 years.
Like
you said, and we've met your Lolo.
Lolo, we met her. We met your Lolo.
Today.
You know, and then having had to counsel over 3,000 couples.
Wow.
Over a period of 18 years. I've heard quite a lot.
Yes, that's why.
And to be honest, there are actually degrees to stages before you get to malice. Okay. Now, just like life, there are issues, there are concerns, there are disagreements that can come up between two genuine people, just like she said, happily married, and they can have disagreements, they can have different opinions. Now that's where it begins. Now if you don't take care of the disagreements, if you don't take care of the small concerns, then it leads to conflicts. Now this is where you begin to have issues as a result of the unresolved concerns. Now by the time you now have conflict, meaning that you have established the fact that you have an issue, a big problem, the big elephant in the room, that's the conflict, and you're dealing with that. If you're not careful, it then leads to malice. Then what is malice? Malice is a deliberate and intentional desire to harm the other person. That's actually what malice is.
To harm the other person?
Yes, that is what it is. Because when you begin to express malice or malicious acts, you're either doing it verbally, physically, emotionally, or psychologically. Either of these ones can dehumanize and destroy the person. And then over time, the person will begin to lose essence, begin to lose self-esteem, begin to see him or herself lower than what the person actually is. And then people actually die, you know, from this, you know, not just physically, but just in their head, in their being, and in their health. So there's so much, and then in answering your questions, there are various things that can happen that can be described as malicious. As simple as choosing not to speak to your partner and ignoring over a long period can leave the other partner thinking, is it me? What did I do wrong? Am I not up to his standard? Where have I offended her? And then begin to think, okay, I am not all that. I am not good enough. And before you know it, even for children, it begins to affect other people outside and their relationship with people outside. So there are so many ways people can be malicious towards the other.
Okay, but the big elephant in the room, is it money? What's the most cost of conflict? Is it money? What is interference from in-laws?
Anything.
Anything.
I would like to say that the base of malice is communication.
No.
Because the first
The lack of it.
expression, the communication chance, the lack of it. Because what we all commonly understand to be malice is the person is not talking to me.
But it's deeper than that.
It's deep. I love how you've extended it, because it's the will, the ill will is to cause this other person pain. It's not just harm,
But the
pain.
person,
I
can I
wanna
come in
make
here?
you
The
feel
person
something.
who is doing that has been hurt. Is it somebody who just wakes up and say, I want to keep malice? Something has been done.
It's a reaction to something.
Yeah,
It's
a reaction. It's a
something.
response.
Yeah, it's a
But I
response.
want to say, that's why I said, you see, malice is something that if you are trained away from it early,
Yes.
Yes.
you will
Yes.
not have it as
It
a
won't be an
pattern
option
of
at
behavior.
all.
You can choose to stop at some point.
Yes, you see, when people, yes, someone is offended, and let me tell you, when you are not mature, you cannot walk in love.
Clearly.
You will walk in offense. Wow. You will walk in bitterness.
You hold grudges.
You will hold grudges. Say love does
Clearly.
not behave itself unruly. You will use a language. Never will it come out of my mouth. I pray, amen. I call my husband. Any word outside of what I call him, out of respect, deference, or hold your mouth. Make sure
Yes.
dial. I report my husband seriously to God.
That's where to take it.
somebody may
That's where to
say,
take it.
Someone should bring over spiritual. Let me tell you, that is what I understand. If you don't do it as God, just go somewhere where the ear of that which you hear, it is not a man who will become a third party, changing and altering what you are
And make it
saying.
worse than what he was.
I
Yes.
go to places. Who does the encourager go to be encouraged? Who does the counselor go to be
They're
counseled?
cancelled.
Who does the anti-dial go to be anti-dial?
Dialed.
I have to be very careful.
Yes.
Now, I love what your Calabar report kind of alluded to, the culture of silence. Women are culturally
To be seen and not heard.
don't hear. Meanwhile, things are
Inside.
bottling up, becoming more and more toxic.
Yes.
You know, one of the big issues my husband pointed out, how we women spend so much time, early morning altar, not to the family, but on some prayer program. You are not praying with your husband. You are not praying with your children.
My pastor needs to hear
You're following
this.
someone.
My pastor needs to hear this.
Someone, and let me tell you, for many wives, that's someone we are following. Your husband is angry with him.
Oh my goodness.
Clearly.
Because he has
Oh, yes.
taken Auntie
Yes.
D.
No, but that's a fact.
Auntie D.
I'm loving it. Your prayer that you spend how many hours in the morning doing with another man of God. It's not a man. Your man.
Hours.
God
What
gave
if you limit the time?
Yes.
Look, what
A lot of women do hours.
Do you know what? My husband playing it, and I'm saying this not from a place of pointing at people, pointing at me. I want to spend quiet time. You know, I realize that quiet time I want to spend with myself. My husband said, why can't I be quiet with him?
Oh.
See, no. Now I told him, I said to him, do you realize a lot of the women who are there praying are praying because of a place of pain the man has pushed them to.
That's another point.
So if you
also
want us,
an
I
outlet.
told my husband, you toasted us to marry us. Then you marry us and you now burn us. No.
Toasting has stopped.
Keep the toasting. There is
Keep it going.
nothing you cannot toast a woman into and out of.
Out.
Okay, ask you to hold your thoughts. I would like to know where the place of ego and pride comes in, but that'll be after we go to Enugu. When we come back, Dr. Henry, you tell us pride, ego, bigger person, smaller person, being taken for granted. Enugu, pride goeth before it fall. Does it really? Tell us more.
In the fragile ecosystem of marriage, pride can be a silent killer. When pride takes the root, it can choke out the very qualities that nourish a healthy relationship.
What is it? My marriage is torn.
Mirrored in the life of Choma, the successful on-air.
My husband loved me to a fault.
And instead of finding solution, they become worse than they were before.
They are very beautiful. Mommy, I wish I could turn back the hands of time. You know me now. A successful broadcaster. And then I let it get into my head. Before long, the once strong bonds of love and trust began to fray, leaving our relationship vulnerable to the ravages of unending conflicts and resentments.
I'm very busy. In case you don't know it now.
Mommy, that was a very devastating period for me. Imagine me now, being the wife of a keke rider. Mommy, you reason it now. Wait. Oh no, not now. Oh, mine is a reflection.
When there is resolution, there's sweetness in the home, and pride indeed goeth before a fall. Our guest is still here. Before we went to Enugu for that contribution, the studio was on fire. The fire is still here. So let's go back to it. Okay. Dr. Emeka.
Yes, please.
Dr. Dayo has said so much. I want you to react to it. I'm not even going to ask any question. Please react to some of the things she has said.
I think.
Go back and pet her.
No, but I think that there's a fundamental issue here. You know, if we're talking about homes, what we've seen happen is that people do not get premarital counseling, and let's even break that down. They don't ask questions. They don't have proper courtship. They do not relate. That's why it's called a relationship. Now, before you say I do, okay? If you do not know the person, then don't marry the person. Now, when you see a man who is big on certain things, and you are not that way, then don't marry him, because he's not going to change.
True.
If he believes that a woman's place is at home, and you're a career woman, then it will not work. Except both of you are willing to make adjustments and strike the word balance. Okay? So there is need for people to get information about the person they are marrying and the marriage they want to build. If you do not have a clear idea of the kind of home you want to build, then who starts a building without counting costs or checking to see what you need to build a home? Do you understand that? So that is where it actually begins. And then you see that couples will begin to have issues that will lead to conflicts that now create the malice that we're talking about here from petty things. You know, you see a man who is not willing to spend his money. He doesn't even know how to provide for himself. Now, it's not about not having money or having money.
Yes.
It's that he doesn't even know how to take care of himself. He's not going to take care of you.
Yes.
Nobody trained him.
Yes, he wasn't trained.
Wow. Nobody taught him. He didn't go to school to learn. Like you see, we're just talking about, somebody said it's not our culture to do premarital counseling. Who said so? Our fattening homes, the girls used to go there, not just get fattened, but they are taught how to take care of a man. That's counseling. But then the mistake our people, older generation, used to make was that the man was just taught to work hard, provide. You know, he goes to till the ground, he knows there's a place to go and provide. But then if you're not taught at home, you will not know that it's also your place to be a friend in that family.
I'd like to just
A father too.
Oh my goodness.
Some say.
Thank you. There's so much is touched on for me.
Yes.
Number one, the terms of reference for the contract and the engagement.
Why are we coming together?
Why are you coming together?
Why are we coming
You see,
together?
many people miss it at the foundation. All my friends, without one, who have ended up with divorce or significant marital challenges, what we all have realized, it was always there in the beginning.
Yes.
Oh.
The guy you indulged as a guy will always be the man who will not indulge you as the wife.
Yes.
Eventually, if he wasn't trained to take care, if he was trained to be self-centered,
he's gonna be that way.
It's not his fault. It's his fault.
Okay, so some of us go into relationships with rose-colored glasses.
No. Please, let me stop that.
Because the red flags
This
are
generation,
Throw them away.
let me tell the truth.
Throw them away.
Rose-tinted is one thing, but going there that is just to marry.
Oh, beautiful things.
To do
Forget
the
it.
destination
Wedding.
Hey, be seen like this. To have the imagine
He didn't arrive
a
like
guy
this
wants to
overnight.
engage you, do engagement. Say no, it's not like this. So till the cameras are there.
Yes.
Call
I
a
mean,
few
excuse
friends,
me.
call people.
I know where my guy asked me to marry him.
Okay.
And that was it. And you know, one thing I'd love to say is this. You see this thing about submission. There's the way my husband ministers it and I complete it. He says, submission is not a dirty word. It is not an inferior position.
Yes, it's not at all.
It is not.
at all.
And when a man understands it, it's about you positioning your wife for distinction. However, what I say is, where you understand that submission is not an inferior position, as a woman also understand it is a superior decision. Because submission is like a submarine.
Okay.
It is an arsenal warship. It's a position you take, you go deep. And the deeper you go, you are completely covered. So that the things that easily are seen. Dr. Henry, I see you as like, what is she going? You know, things can offend women.
Yes.
We can be flaky, we can be
Petty
petty.
too.
Yeah.
But like I say, even guys are petty.
They are
because they want
petty.
to be
Oh, yes.
petted.
Yes.
Yes.
And when we understand that, you are talking about ego and pride.
Yes, pride
I don't
and
want
ego.
to change my man's ego. I don't want a man to be a moo for me. Let my man be the alpha man that he is. I'm sorry, that's me.
To an extent.
Yeah, no.
Is there a place where ego has a negative impact? Or negative
Everything in excess is excess.
Definitely.
But I don't want to
Definitely.
take from a man what a man
If you
is.
take a
And
man's
I don't
ego
want a
away,
man-
you take his
you
essence
taking his
away.
man. I don't
mean
want
the
to take
over.
his man.
Yes,
You mean when the cup is full and
Yes.
spilling
Yes, it
over?
is. And then for the women too, I tell men, treat us like the roses you met us as.
Oh yeah. Baby
Keep
girl.
us-
But I think I have a thought to just an illustration I can
Go on,
quickly
go on,
share.
yes.
And I have a problem with that. For a man, either way, a woman finds a man and they meet at a beer parlor or a social gathering, and his level, his routine is close from work, 4 o'clock, come home, change, he hits the bar or he goes to hang out, and he does that every day during
routine,
courtship.
yes.
And then you marry him, and then you want him to sit at home
You are kidding.
to begin to now
No, you gotta kidding me.
begin to give
Excuse me,
that
please.
attention.
No,
To begin to
no,
Our
hang out with
messages
you.
are coming in. Let's see what is saying.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not courtship.
Yes.
Doctors,
People go to
the world
bed
is
instead
responding
of
now
getting
to
know
our
each
conversation.
other.
Exactly.
You know,
Let's
the
hear what
person's
they are
naked
saying.
body and their
Let's
nudity,
hear what the
you
world
don't
is
know anything
saying.
about how the brain
They're
works.
yes.
responding. Okay, let's hear what they are saying. Okay, first off, they say fantastic topic. Are we sure we can bring resolution? He said this pride and ego that you talked about earlier, the man has it, the woman also has it. And sometimes it is too much. But I agree, it's a good topic. Okay? Good morning, oh, well done, weekend. I like this topic. Let me call my husband. The person did not tell us her name. Let me call my husband. He must come and listen to this program. Okay, TJ is asking, apart from desire to harm somebody, what else does malice bring? And what's the difference between malice and withdrawal? Malice and withdrawal.
Wow.
Is there a
One
difference?
is a symptom of the other. Yes.
So do I take one more question? Chidima is talking from Anambra. She says, the problem some people have, is it because they had sex with a man before marriage? He now saw them finish. Chidima from Anambra State. Can we tackle?
Okay, let me take the withdrawal against the other concept you talked about. The truth is, withdrawal is
A symptom.
a symptom.
Okay.
It's as a result of malice. You know, where a man or a woman chooses to say, "I'm done," in the head.
Yeah.
You know, he can be physically there, but he's gone.
Yes.
Or she's physically there,
But
still
she's
cooks
gone.
for you, still meets your physical needs and all that, but she's gone. So it's a symptom of malice. There is a grudge somewhere She's offended about something and she's unhappy. So one is a symptom of the other. Now, I think this concept of having to have sex before marriage is something that young people need to understand. You kill the marriage before you start. That's what it is.
Religion.
This is not religion. Religion has nothing to do. You just kill the marriage. You kill it before it starts. Because let me tell you what happens with men. Once you've had sex with a man who is yet to be your husband, he's going to continue to wonder, how many more? Is there another person?
But is that fair to say for all men?
It's not.
You are the man. I'm not a man. Let
me tell you.
Are you hearing?
A lot of this happens in a man's head.
Are you serious?
He's saying if she's willing to give in now, how many more
can she give in to later?
Yes.
Oh,
how many more men?
How many more men? It's normal.
But she just loved you and said that. But there are many men.
Dr. Henry asking.
Hold on.
But she did it out of love.
She did what out of love?
Giving it, thinking that it was not true.
Finish and as
deny him, he will chase you.
Thank you. Deny him.
He will follow you.
Yes.
He respects you.
Yes.
And he holds on to you.
I agree.
He will wait.
You will say, Auntie Dayo, did she do that? My dears, I did. It was not funny.
It was not easy.
It was not
easy. It was not easy for me.
You did it too.
You know what my husband did?
My husband used to pray. He would pray and he would say, Father, in Jesus' name, forgive me for fornication. I said, people think we have slept, so we've had sex. He said, I've done it. He one day took his hand and he hit himself till he fell down.
In our days, it was so bad.
I was afraid.
Do you know, it was so bad that when during our courtship days, my wife and I, if I hold her hand just to walk into church, it will be a problem for her. She will be thinking, she'll think she has sinned. It was so for me.
No,
to be honest, yes, I was the problem.
Are we now saying are we now saying that couples who had sex before marriage have not had longevity?
No.
They're just saying a greater advantage. Okay, welcome back. Ripple effect of marital conflict on children. Children are always the victim. Susan has gone and done a research. Let's watch.
I told you I'm going to have a meeting by 11.
Food?
Yes.
You didn't tell me now.
I told you I have a meeting by 11 o'clock.
Today?
This morning.
But I told you yesterday that the money you provided was too small for the home.
What do you mean? There's no food. What do you mean that? Yesterday, I came back from work. I went to bed empty stomach. This morning again, I'm asking for food. There's no food. This woman, you are looking for my trouble, right? You are looking for my trouble.
Are you threatening me?
Mommy, Daddy, stop now. I don't like you. Guys, every time people be fighting. Which type of thing? Mommy, please stop now.
Talk to your daddy, oh.
Children are highly sensitive to their parents' emotions and can easily pick up on tension between them. Witnessing frequent arguments or conflict between parents can cause children to feel anxious, stressed, and even depressed. This conflict can also impact their behavior, leading them to act out in response. While disagreements and arguments are natural in any relationship, chronic or intense conflict can have profound consequences on children's emotional, social, and psychological well-being. Studies have shown that children who grow up in homes with high level of parental conflicts are more likely to experience emotional and behavioral problems later in life. They may struggle with concentration in class, forming healthy relationships, managing their emotions, and could even develop mental health issues.
You find children especially struggling, in that space of dysfunctional family, really struggling emotionally, trying to really find their identity, struggle with anger, struggle with lack of confidence, struggle with, where to also express what they've learned, looking for their own space or way of, expelling what has been put inside of them. So yes, it's for sure.
This raises a critical question. Should children be aware of conflict between their parents, or should parents shield them by painting a rosy picture?
Children are learning from parents and from teachers in the school. Of course, they are mirrors of their parents. So whatever happens in the family definitely affect the children in the school. That whoever wants to go into marriage should be matured enough. And in a situation whereby you have to say sorry, even when you are right. So in a situation where everybody claims to be right, it will not all go well. So we need to come together as family so that it will not affect our children.
While conflict is inevitable in any relationship, parents must take steps to minimize its impact on their children and resolve their issues promptly. Keeping argument private, communicating effectively, and seeking help when needed can make a significant difference.
Absolutely, because when we say a child is formed, or with different experiences, a child is formed as a result of influences. A child is formed as a result of environment, biological and all of that. That's what it simply means. Whatever you give your child is what they exhibit. So you can't say, I don't understand where he's coming from. I don't understand why he is, acting like this. You can't sit in front of children and then fight.
While disagreement between parents are normal, it is important to be mindful of how arguments may affect your children. By keeping argument private, communicating effectively, measuring your children, and seeking help when needed, parents can minimize the negative impact of conflict. Parenting is tough, but by working together and prioritizing the well-being of your children, parents can create a more peaceful environment for their family to thrive. Together, we can build a better future for our children by resolving conflicts with love and understanding.
Parents and guardians have a continuous responsibility to provide a soft landing for their wards and for their children. And sometimes you need to step real low. They say you stoop to conquer. Do what you can to make your children have a very comfortable place in your home. Create a nest for them to yearn to come back to. But I'm not the expert though. The experts are here. You know how they say, I'm not the bride. I'm not the expert. I'm just summarizing what Susan said. Our guests are here. They say when two elephants fight, is the grass that suffers.
In this case, the children.
How far ought parents and guardians be willing to go to create that nest that the children will yearn to come to on a daily basis, even after they've left the home?
Even parents are products. They were children once. What a parent is a product of what they were or came through as a child. What was missed was missed. What was lost was lost. What was never invested in them was never invested in them. So parenting itself is a learning curve. I found out that a lot of focus has been put on raising children. We have to start to focus on raising parents. Helping parents to do what they do. And because parents, in the place where they miss it, their personal sense of failure is even greater in the place of their mental health depression. A lot of very successful, very influential people, CEO brands, have significant parenting challenges. The Harvard degree can't sort it out. The fact that they just got the highest national award honor, either in the corporate reference, they are professors, yes, of chemistry, but failures as parents, daddies and mummies. More so with the generation which tell you, Mom, Dad, I'm traumatized.
Yeah.
You live with
I'm
that.
the
They always
president.
traumatized. They always traumatized.
They always
Yeah.
traumatized
Yeah.
though.
And the parents
I can't deal with
are
this.
not
deal with it.
traumatized too. Then parents will now come back with, let me tell you, in my time,
Yes.
we know what we went through.
Yes.
We want, what is this trauma? Do
Yes.
you know what we went through?
They beat us
We
with
had
slippers.
the stick.
They lost their time.
No, it won't work.
The reality is
It won't
this.
work.
Yes.
That thing they said was done to them has made them the parents
That
they are and they are not today. At the same time, we have a generation they're so smart that they know how to literally blackmail the parent.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
One of the biggest issues that leads to this is parents who say, I will not let my child suffer what I suffered. What did you suffer? How did you suffer?
Meanwhile, what you suffered made you who you became.
Made you who you are. I never schooled outside this country. Everything I am is Nigerian owned, Nigerian owned. What will now make me think that sending my child abroad will give him something better than what I got here? You know, I've come to realize that because we've all taken on this perception that is out there, the grass is greener. We begin to invest in our children. What? Yes, we like to. I want my child to enjoy those kind of things.
The good things of life. Yep.
That I saw other children enjoying when I was a child. And they didn't. Like I said, I come from a very privileged background.
Yeah.
But then when things changed for me, they changed. I went from that. I ended up going into a Ajegule market. There are things so rugged I had to learn to do and to become. And I've grown through that. There is nothing. By the time they put me in the secondary school, they looked at me and said, oh, so privileged in Ibadan. They call it ASO. They put me to work in the toilets. I had to clean toilets, wash toilets, yes, in St. Louis Grammar School. I wash toilets, you wash it, clean it out, right inside, and when you finish, you lie on the ground for them to come and do inspection. It must be that clean. Wow. So I learned how to clean toilets. I can clean toilets. I can clean toilets for Guinness Book of Records. No, I can actually clean for Guinness Book of Records. I go into flights and from conviction, you know, it's one of the most painful things, especially long flights. Once I go in, I must clean the toilet because I don't want anybody coming to the toilet. Meanwhile, God help me, whatever I mess in the toilet, I got to clean up. Now, what am I trying to say? It's a default setting. Yeah. Now, what else want to see? I just want to go to see all these things. They are training.
They're training.
I've gone through
They build you up.
pain.
Yeah.
You're talking about the child. If there's ever a child who should be completely implicated by what she went through and has come through, it is me. And as a girl child. At some point, I even ran away from home. You go through my work. I did. And I had to come back, yes.
Because you felt it was
the man who married me, the man who embraced me, his family, my in-laws, the way they took me and to this day have gathered me to themselves. And please, I have 7 big sisters-in-law, Yoruba family.
Wow.
What tọ́jú mi dáadáa. I'm telling you, what should have been a pride? You know, you have people who pray that let my mother-in-law die, let all them die before I get. God forbid, because the prayer you pray for them will be your
prayer.
You never live to enjoy your children's marriage because the prayer you pray to get into your marriage
will come back to you.
It must. It's not just karma. It's just a lot. Well, except if you go for deliverance. I'm telling you the truth.
I have some more messages.
Oh, but
wow.
Please, and please.
Amazing.
You must train yourself.
Be intentional.
But
you need to know how to train yourself first.
But there's something.
You need to go and see the counselor.
There's something.
Let's take some.
Before you take this, let me just quickly throw this in on the children and parenting thing.
Okay.
First, parents need to understand that first you're a parent.
Yes.
You're not a friend. You're
Very
a parent.
important.
Yes.
It's important. Now, a counseling concept my wife uses and teaches every time is the fact that the child that you do not train well today becomes a husband that is a terror tomorrow.
Or a wife.
Or a wife that is a witch in quotes tomorrow.
Yes.
So you begin to teach the child today what you want the child to become tomorrow. And children learn from what they see. So the way you're relating with your partner your kids are watching, and then they'll use that to relate with their families or their partners down the road. So what kind of home are you building? What kind of children are you training? So
but that's
make
how
sure
we're
that
learning. That is a learning curve. Right?
So you make the necessary adjustments. Every family can get it done if you just choose, and then keep the communication line open with the kids. Let the children know where you have got it wrong. Okay. You're also human. That you
transparent. Yes, exactly. I'm not perfect.
So let's take the next question.
I'm just a daddy.
Yes,
I'm a
mommy.
My husband has this neighbor that loved him and was dying secretly for him. She married before him. A year later, he got married to me. The lady and her siblings are trying so hard to make my life a living hell. This has caused friction between my husband and I. I don't know how to handle it. He knows that the woman likes him. In a way, I think he encourages it. And it makes me do things I ordinarily would not do. But she didn't tell us where she's reaching us from.
And she doesn't need to tell us where she's reaching. She's reaching
out. We need her name.
So doctor,
I think that they haven't had the necessary conversation that they should have. It's a two-way thing.
Okay.
And it's strange to hear that a man, well, not necessarily strange. Now, he's aware that this woman is showing this likeness towards him, and then he's encouraging it. I think there's something wrong with that. Now, what should this woman do? Go to someone he listens to. You know, you must have, is he a pastor? Is he an imam? Is it someone in the family? Because that conduct is harming your home. Now, if you've had the conversation and you see that it hasn't helped, then you need to take it a notch higher. Go to someone and and then again, something that I also teach people, let the man see how it makes you feel. Talk from a feelings point of view. Okay, I am this way because this is what I hear, I see you do, and it makes me feel less than enough for you. And because of this, I do this. I don't want to do this anymore. Now, you're coming from a subtle...
Okay.
Is it that submission
Can I also
angle?
say this? Well, obviously, this route is not working.
Yeah, obviously.
So then she should take it higher.
This route is not working.
Yeah.
Let's help you with a different route. She said something that is very key to a lot of women. You become a different personality than your personality.
As a result of what she's seen the man do.
Like the mad woman, the
Yes.
demon woman,
The nagging woman.
the nagging woman,
The nagging
the
wife.
accusing woman,
Yes.
the cantankerous
The
woman.
one that the Bible
The
says you should
woman
leave and go and live in the room.
Yes, I said go and live on the other. Don't become that woman.
What ought she to be?
Yes, now you're going to have to train your person.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you,
Be the bigger
life
person.
is not about likes.
Yes.
It's not a Facebook followership, Instagram, Twitter
It's not like-
followership. No. The only like, the most critical like is you. First and foremost, your marriage, your children, the money in the bank, another degree, whatever it is your pedigree does not make you happy.
I'm liking that.
You're going to have to own your happiness. This is what I always say, woman's first transaction with her
Deliberate.
human right is her woman right. Her first woman right is a happy right. Be happy.
I
Now,
claim my happy right.
Intentionality. Let me tell you something. If your happiness depends on the way
Another
in which
person.
your husband smiles at you in the morning, you're in
then
trouble.
you have a
That
problem.
neighbor next door
You
is doing what
will
you
ruin
do.
you.
Girl, you can package yourself like Nollywood.
How?
I'm not kidding. There is a way you
Live
are
above.
better. You are better and you will not be bitter. Don't let it change you. It's inside you, but don't let it eat you. You see, there are certain things, they come into you and by nature, they are expelled.
Good.
You must find the
That takes
nature
a high
that
level
helps
of
you
maturity.
expel.
Yes, it takes. It's not
That
that
is
simple
why
anyway.
you must mature. It's not just for marriage,
Anything.
but for
Even in the
every
office. Even in the
everything.
office.
Whether you're in the civil service and you're saying it's an evil service, you're in the public service and you find that in your
private
private
sector,
place you're being
yeah.
afflicted. This person
Rise
doesn't-
above.
My boss doesn't like me. My employees this. Look, that is life. My in-laws are not in love with me.
No
this
problem.
that is like, even you, do you like everybody?
Oh, no, no.
No.
At least.
So you must make up your mind what your script is going to be.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm very serious.
I like that.
Excuse me, ladies.
We're
There is
coming
what we
back.
call Pedigree.
Pedigree.
We
Yes.
give
Yes.
them
I mean.
Have your woman's right and your happy right.
You to respect.
You take it. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Okay.
Okay, before we went on the break, Dr. Dayo said something that was profound. You're responsible for your own happiness. You must be intentional about your happiness. Not your husband, not your wife, not your job, not your colleagues. You are responsible for your happiness. One thing that can make you happy is your health. Let's take health tips. We'll come back and they are here. The conversation will continue. Don't go.
Welcome to Health Tips on the Health Monitor Show, and today we'll be giving you tips on the right diet that can either aid the growth of fungal acne or kick against it. Never underestimate the power of employing the right type of diet in your life. What you ingest is what your body manifests physically, emotionally, and mentally, because your body deals with chemicals that help process your food. Let's take a look at certain foods and beverages we need to avoid when dealing with fungal acne. These include sugary foods. Excess sugar can contribute to yeast overgrowth. Limit your intake of sugary treats, refined carbohydrates, and sweetened beverages. Dairy products. Dairy is known to influence hormones and inflammation, which can potentially worsen fungal acne. Consider reducing or eliminating dairy consumption. Processed and high-fat foods. Processed foods and those high in unhealthy fats can disrupt the body's balance and contribute to skin issues. Alcohol. Alcohol consumption can alter gut flora and create an environment conducive to yeast growth. These include probiotic-rich foods. Foods like yogurt, kimchi, and more contain beneficial bacteria that can help balance gut flora. Antioxidant-rich foods. Fruits and vegetables rich in antioxidants such as berries, spinach, and bell peppers support overall skin health. Whole grains. Opt for whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, and oats, which provide essential nutrients and promote stable blood sugar levels. Lean proteins. Incorporate lean protein sources like chicken, fish, tofu, legumes to support tissue repair and overall skin health. And that's it on Health Tips on the Health Monitor Show.
It's really a healthy person that can be a part of this conversation and can take away something meaningful and become intentional in your happiness personally and in your home, and to make the right impact with your family and in your community. We're talking with the doctors here, relationship experts themselves, and they are bringing their wealth of knowledge to what we can do today so you and I can benefit. Our conversation continues. A myriad of messages. We're getting this one now from Abuja. She says, we greet you. Dr. Henry, well done. Mandate Secretary Ma, I salute you. I like the idea about love and submission, but does it always work? I have submitted, I have shown love, and oftentimes I'm being taken for granted. Let me just take two more so that we can put all together. Someone is asking again, what is submission all about? We read the Bible. Do our men read the Bible? Deep. They say, okay, we like the excitement in the studio, but we're taking away meaningful messages. It takes two people to tango. If the woman is listening alone, how will it make the right impact in the home? Just one more, the last one. This studio, I give una 3 gboza today.
Whoa, right.
My name is Austin Paul from Benin.
Thank you.
Thank you. We love you too. Thank you.
Please start. They will have Money Secretary say hers. You heard all what they said.
The big question there. Oh dear. When people talk about submission and respect and all of that, and then the question around, is it really necessary? Is it worth it? I ask, how committed are you to each other? Now, and I take that word and then we can begin to take it. If a couple, now I'm talking 2 persons, if you're not committed to each other, you're not giving of yourself to the person. Now, if you give love, the person that is not committed to you will not appreciate it. If you give submission, the person that is not committed to you will not appreciate it. Now, so the big word is commitment. Now, commitment is far and above love. Commitment to you is you are being ugly to me today. I'm talking to you this morning, you're not responding. But I love you well enough, and I know that you also love me. But I know that something may be going wrong with you, so I'll wait for you. That is commitment.
Wow.
I have made excuses for you already. I've said to myself, something must be going on. Now, the flip side is, I wake up this morning, I'm saying good morning to you. You're not responding. I say, what rubbish is this? Why would this woman not respond to me when I'm greeting her this morning? Useless woman, get away from her. Now, that is the flip side. Now, if you're committed to someone, you're committed to your marriage, you would appreciate love when she gives it to you. Or when he gives it to you the other way. And then you appreciate submission or respect, when it is coming from your woman. And then you're also giving her love. So if you're not committed, then there is a question around all that.
In fact, I'm loving this because I actually heard it on your report that marriage is, it's not just we say marriage is a covenant, but really what is that? Marriage is love. Marriage is commitment.
That's what it is.
It is above love.
Yes.
You see, love, like I said, is not an uchi-kuchi feeling or an experience of Valentine's Day. Love actually is not about feelings.
Yes.
Love
absolutely
is commitment. It's commitment. It's obedience.
Obedience.
Let me just tell you, love is a command you obey. Not because it's convenient. Ask the army, ask anybody, obey the last command.
Oh, yes.
Obey before you complain.
Okay.
So what am I saying now? I want to be very real.
Yeah.
Like I said, my husband and I enjoy, quote unquote, one of the happiest marriages to all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
But we had a challenge like this. And he was there upset. I was upset. And then he said something and that it hurled at me. And I'm like, how is this?
Where did this come
and
from?
Not where did this, if you're angry you can say, then but I realized if I use anger for anger, what are you going
to get out of it?
To end up with? And I ended up with a scenario where I now, based on commitment, I just say piped low. Now this is what it is, I pipe low. And in that place of piping low, I now found the right tone to express my pain.
Yes.
Meanwhile, this is something that had been there because he's like, why is this happening? And that's what was angry
It will only
about.
take a committed woman to do this.
We will be back.
Commitment. But before
we
we go on,
but you know what happened at the end? When I did that, he came back to me and the whole day, sweetheart, I'm sorry.
So, Hemi, your last word.
Every couple should find their apology languages. Just discover what apology means to your partner. Learn it and speak it.
Okay.
Dr. D.
To every marriage out there and every marital conflict situation, whatever your culture, your background, I'm going to say it two ways. As Muslim, Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, and to the Christian, all is well. It all ends well.
Oh my
Amen.
goodness. Amen.
Fantastic. Patience.
Okay.
We have great news, don't we?
Yes, that this conversation will continue. And Dr. Dayo said something. So
she's going to be hosting us to continue this conversation on a different platform.
Okay, so let me put it this way. On behalf of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, His Excellency, the Honorable Minister, Barrister Inyesom Ezenwo-Wike, we at the FCT, Women's Secretariat, will be hosting this conversation. The two doctors, and everything to do with marriage, malice, and getting it right, parenting, as a re-celebration of the World Parenting Day, so that this conversation in the public space becomes more unbundled. We will take all the extra questions that have not been answered, but it's like we will have a quorum. You know why? This is part of the mandate. A happy city of renewed hope.
Let's hold hands.
Be happy with
this is how we usually do it. Can we be up Sunday?
Okay.
This is us together. God bless Nigeria. See you again. Bye-bye.